Hey my dudes, my name is Cecilia and welcome to my kitchen here in Stockholm, Sweden. Today we are making vanilla buns. Now, these aren't just any vanilla buns. I used to work at this bakery called Lindeberg Bageri. This was like way back in the day. I'm talking like 2016. They had this amazing triple vanilla bun. And so I wanna make my version today. 500 grams of buttermilk. Really make sure you're getting all of it. 1,100 grams of all-purpose flour. 200 grams of sugar. 15 grams of salt, 70 grams of fresh yeast, and 200 grams of softened butter. No cardamom in the dough? Shocking, I know. Use your hook attachment, and we want to mix this for 5 minutes on low speed just so the dough can come together. Also, because I know people are going to ask, buttermilk in Sweden is technically kärnmjölk. That is the way that comes off of butter, that product, buttermilk, is kärnmjölk. However, in Stockholm at least, it can be really difficult to find kärnmjölk in like a normal grocery store. I always use filmjölk, eller lättfilmjölk. So lättfilmjölk is non-fat soured milk. It has 0.5% fat in it. I like to use that, but sometimes I'll just use regular filmjölk, which has 3% fat in it. It's just soured milk. So if you are not in Sweden or America and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I use? We don't have buttermilk in my country. You can always just use your country's equivalent of unsweetened soured milk. And if you absolutely don't have that, you can also just take milk, add about a couple teaspoons, a tablespoon of lemon juice or white vinegar, let it sit for half an hour, and boom, you have soured milk. It's been 5 minutes. And this dough seems just slightly on the drier side than it normally does. Usually at the end of the 5 minutes, this dough is like completely together. Obviously still needs a lot more gluten development, but like there's no dry spots or anything. And I have like a lot of dry spots down here. So just trying to scrape those up so they don't get stuck to the bowl. And I'm gonna take this opportunity to add 50 more grams of water. It's best if you're going to add extra liquid to add it as soon as possible, like in the beginning. I know it can be really tricky when you don't make dough often to know like, ooh, is it gonna come together? Because often it looks really dry and shaggy, but it like, the dough hydrates, it gets there eventually. But I know this machine, I know this dough super well, and it's definitely on the drier side today, so it really needs that extra water. I'm gonna assume it's because we used 100% buttermilk today. Also a note about the dough being dry. I am using an all-purpose flour that has 10% protein. If you are using a bread flour or even an all-purpose flour that has 11.5% protein, like King Arthur often does in the US, your dough is going to be drier and you are going to need to compensate for it because it's the protein in the flour that sucks up all of that liquid. And that's why sometimes, even if I make this recipe the same way every single time, you in your country may have issues with it, or it's really dry or it's really wet. It all depends on the flour, and the flour can really depend on the season. Let's get back to our baby dough here. We now want to mix it for between half an hour and 45 minutes on like a medium slow speed. You don't want the machine to be like whipping around going crazy, but you don't want it to be slow because it will just take forever. You need a nice pushing pace. It's been about an hour, which I know, it's a very long time. I understand that. But this machine, a little bit on the weak side. It probably will only take you half an hour to 45 minutes. Also, I love that I was like, oh my God, this dough is not coming together. I definitely need to add 50 grams more water. And now that I have, this is it's a very soft, very wet dough. So I probably didn't actually need that 50 grams of water. I just scared myself. But you know what? It's gonna be fine. No worries. It's not like it's too wet. It's just, I can tell that it's softer than it normally is. But for the shape that we're doing, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna use some plastic wrap today. Oy, 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 oy. Lay the dough out on the plastic wrap, and you wanna make it rectangular-ish shaped. Actually, this is a little bit on the large side. Oh boy, see how soft it is? I wasn't joking when I said this dough is very soft. We're gonna go like that. I'm laying it out on plastic today instead of putting it on a parchment lined tray because it's so soft and it's so warm in my kitchen that I actually want to freeze it for about half an hour before putting it in the fridge. I just want to make sure it gets like coldy, coldy, cold, cold, cold. And because it's so warm, my fridge will just take like forever. I need to give it that extra little bump from the freezer. Okay, and we're moving the dough yet again. Very floppy dough, goes in the freezer for half an hour, and then we will move it into the fridge. While our dough is cooling down, let's make the filling and the icing, and then also a vanilla salt. Into a large bowl goes 300 grams of very soft butter, 250 grams of sugar, 3 grams of salt, and 6 grams of vanilla sugar. Stir that together. Into another bowl, pour in 200 grams of powdered sugar, a dash of vanilla extract, and some milk. That's a little thick. We'll add the rest of the milk. We're gonna add more powdered sugar because this glaze is a little thin right now. There we go. That is what we're looking for. Nice and thick. And in our last bowl, flake salt. This is like a Malden salt or any type of flaky salt. We just want those big crystals and some vanilla powder. Stir that around. The butter filling can be left out as is. You do not want to refrigerate it. We want to keep it soft. Don't worry about it being at room temperature. We're going to use it in the next like hour. It's totally fine, okay? Leave it out. Same with the vanilla salt. Vanilla glaze, however, I'm gonna put into a piping bag. Now, if you don't have a piping bag, that's totally fine. You just wanna put a layer of plastic wrap on contact or make this when you actually need it because this type of glaze loves to form a skin. But I find it easier to just put it in a piping bag and let it sit to the side. Cut the top off. And now we're ready for whenever our dough is ready. Our dough is nice and firm, so we can finally roll it out. I'm not gonna do anything too complicated today. We are gonna roll these cinnamon roll style. That's how we used to do it at the bakery. That's the vision I have in my mind. I'm looking for flour right now. I've got my flour. You could do this with basically any shaping technique you wanted to, but I'm going with what I know. A little flour over the top, more sprinkle. Rolling pin. It's really cold. A fun trick is if any of your dough is ever like really, really cold and you're having a hard time like rolling it out, you can just like beat it out. So like this edge is really cold and stiff and it's gonna become much more flexible, pliable, easy to roll out. This is not the most perfect rolling out job I've ever done, but I think it's good enough. It's not super, super thin. It's about 1/2 centimeter. That's like 1/4 inch thick. That's about what it normally is. And you just wanna make sure that it's not like stuck underneath. So I just kind of like flip it a little bit so I can see that nowhere is stuck. All of the filling. And you wanna spread it out evenly over the entire piece of dough. To roll the dough, start up in the corner and just pinch over the top all the way along. And then you're gonna take it and you're gonna fold it over again. Fold, fold, fold. And again, fold it over, fold it over, fold it over, fold it over. Now, we wanna follow this line. So I take one side of my dough and I roll, and as I'm rolling, I'm concentrating on this, following this line. Same over here, we're following that line. And our middle follows. Going along the side, watching to make sure that this is staying straight, and our middle follows. Along the edge, I'm pulling, middle follows. And we get down to the corner, and we get down to the corner, and we pull away, and the middle follows. And then we readjust. And now this line, pretty even. This guy, pretty even. This guy, pretty even. I'm not even gonna lie to you, this may be the best cinnamon roll I have ever made, ever. Well, maybe not ever, but at least here in this kitchen. I am very proud of this. Scale, pastry chef knife. 'Tis large, 'tis dull. It's perfect for cutting dough. Gonna cut the end off. And how big of buns do I want? I want big boy buns. Let's see if I can get towards 90 grams today. What are you? 89. Oh my God. I'm so good at this. Okay, 79. I'm less good at this than I thought I was. 97. 93. 96. Last one. 85. It comes and it goes. The genius, the touch, it comes and goes, you know? Metal tray. We're gonna use Silpats today. You could also use pieces of parchment paper. Line your trays. Very efficient of us. Very cutesy, very demure. Pop your babies on the tray, and as you pick them up, you can kind of just squish them into a more round shape. Time to put these babies to bed. We have damp, clean dish towels. I literally have like 45 dish towels in this apartment, and all of them are dirty except for these two. How does that happen? I guess I need to do laundry. Baby number 1, baby number 2, and then these guys, I have saved the plastic from wrapping the dough, and we can wrap these guys in that. You can decide whether you want to wrap your buns in plastic or in damp towel. I usually like the plastic, to be honest with you. I think that like it sticks less and it keeps less air from getting in and out, which means your buns form less of a skin, but also it's not very good for our environment. So I've been trying to move away from using so much single-use plastic in my baking, but at least we're kind of reusing this. We do the best we can. It's about 30 degrees Celsius in my apartment right now, so these shouldn't take too long. I'm suspecting about an hour and a half is how they've been proofing in the past month. If you are watching this in a snowy place, a wintry place, at a wintry time of the year, you're looking more at like a 3-hour rise. Sometimes it takes a long time, sometimes it goes really fast. Keep an eye on them, check them every half an hour. It'll be what it'll be. It has been about an hour and 20 minutes, and honestly, these could have started going into the oven at like the hour mark, but I was in a TikTok spiral, so I kind of wasn't paying attention. And now they are very, very, very ready to bake. I can literally see where the yeast has like risen. Like you can see all of those little holes. That's where the yeast has gone. I have a beaten egg here, just a little bit of egg wash to brush over the top very gently. You don't want to do this too hard and deflate them in any way. You could skip the egg wash if you wanted to, but I like to do this because it gives them such a nice golden color. They baked in a 200 degrees Celsius oven for 12 minutes, but at the 10-minute mark, I just gave them a turn because the ones that were in the back were starting to get more brown than the ones in the front, and I just wanted them to be really even. But that turn made them just so nice. I also think that it would have been nice if I had remembered to tuck their tails under, but that is my only complaint. I think that they look so, so good. Icing, and I'm just gonna cut a little hole here. You could obviously just spoon this on top, but I had piping bags, so I'm gonna use it. I just want a nice little dot in the middle. Vanilla salt, and then you just wanna like sprinkly in the middle. Moment of truth. So good. I love the middle, always the best part. The salt is so good. Like, yes, that bite is salty, but like in the best way. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this week's video, then please like and subscribe, and I will see you around next week. Hej då!